Hello and welcome to yet another YouTube video here on this channel. In today's video, I am going to talk about productivity for mental health, and I was debating whether or not I should film a video like this, but I ended up filming it as I'm doing right now, and it will probably be published in the next couple of hours. But I wanted to talk about this because there is so much productivity advice out there. There is so much information on how you can live a quote-unquote perfect life, to have more energy, to feel better. And all of that advice does not necessarily work for people who are struggling a little bit with their mental health. That is the first thing. And the second thing is that my journey towards productivity came after I went to therapy the first time. So it started off with my therapist suggesting a journal and a to-do list, and I tried it. It didn't work out the first time. But after a year or two, I went back to it, and I have been journaling and I've been writing a to-do list almost every single day after that. And the reason for my channel, all of the apps I review, all of the apps I use, all of the things I say is to help not just myself, but also people that might be struggling a little bit to feel at least a little better with themselves, because I wish that someone had told me all of these things when I was a little bit younger. So every app I use, everything I do has one goal, and the goal is for me to be happier. That's the main goal. That's why I'm productive. That's why I have a to-do list. That's why I journal. That's why I have a calendar. That's why I have this YouTube channel. And all of this started back when I thought I had my dream job, back when I was around 18, 19. Now I am 24, soon to be 25. But back when I was 18, 19, I thought I had my dream job. This was like the thing I wanted to do in my life, and the thing I was hoping to do for such a long time. I wanted to be in that field of work, and this was a way in, or at least a way for me to prove myself. I took the job. I ended up figuring out that I actually hate it. Midlife crisis, didn't know what to do with my life at the age of 19, like we have to have figured it out by then. We don't. I uh, I decided to just post a video on TikTok, and it blew up. It got 100,000 views, which is a lot since I did it in Norwegian. And I started just posting and posting and posting, and I figured out that I love content creation a lot more than everything else I've done in my life, and it makes sense. Ever since I was a little boy, I had content creation in the back of my mind. I did it. I had multiple YouTube channels, multiple Twitter accounts. I even tried singing for a while. I hope those videos have disappeared now, and I think they have. But I figured out that in order for me to do all of the things that made me happy, I had to prioritize them, and I had to write them down, because as some of you may know, I have bipolar disorder. I have periods where I have way too much energy, and there is always things going on in my mind. I have all of these ideas for content. I have all of the things I have to do. I have things I want to say to people. I struggle with tracking my relationships. There is just so much happening in my mind all of the time. But I wanted to be able to have my clothing brand. I wanted to be able to have this YouTube channel and have my day job, which is a lot. I wouldn't recommend people do that much, but it made me happy. It is still making me a lot happier than I was before. So in order for me to be able to accomplish the things I wanted and do the things I wanted, I had to become a lot more structured. I had to wake up at the same time, go to sleep at the same time, get enough sleep, actually have a to-do list, actually have a note-taking app so I can remember everything, because we can't remember everything. We need a system to help us better remember the things that are important to us. That's how I ended up in this position, and I went down the rabbit hole of note-taking apps, and here I am making reviews about note-taking apps, and I will continue to make reviews about productivity apps because all of the apps I use, they have a huge impact on my life, whether that's me using tools to just remember basic things, remember things I've done, remember all of my accomplishments, just something as simple as that, especially if you are a little depressed, if you are struggling a little bit, to have an app to remember all of the things you have accomplished. We have a recency bias, so if nothing great, quote unquote great, have happened the last 3 months, we tend to think that nothing good has happened to us for a year or for months or never. I've had that idea that nothing, I have accomplished nothing in my life. I've thought that many times. Having a place, a dedicated place to go into and see all of the things that I've done is so important to me. Another thing is having a to-do list that allows me to show all of the to-dos I have checked off. Another thing I do, which is strictly for my own mental health, is having a notebook with a daily planner that limits the amount of tasks I can write down. Because I want to accomplish 10 things, but there isn't time enough to do more than 3 or 4. Having 3 or 4 inside of this notebook and telling myself constantly that if I'm able to accomplish these things, I will be happy. I will be content with the things I have done today. And almost everything, every single thing I do is for me to feel a little bit happier, is for me to feel that I am doing well. And that's the main part, or the main point I want to make about productivity, is it is about becoming happier. If you just want to be productive and do a lot of things that do not matter to you, productivity isn't worth it. None of these apps are worth it. None of the productivity apps are worth it. The only thing that should be your priority is how can I become happier, and what do I have to do to become happier, and what do I have to measure to become happier. So I measure my exercises, my sleep, because those have a huge impact on the way I feel. If I am not able to sleep enough, I will be angry, I will be depressed, I will struggle. If I'm not able to exercise enough, I will feel tired, I will again become depressed. And all of these things are quite hard to do. I'm not telling you that you should switch to this method tomorrow or at all. I'm just saying that over time, it is really important to focus on the things that make you happy and not necessarily just doing things because you want to check them off. So, as I said, every single app I use has a purpose, and the purpose is to make my life easier and to make me happier, whether that's a to-do list app, a calendar, or something else. I need these apps to get things off my mind so I can do the thing I am good at, which is coming up with ideas and filming these videos, or at least I believe I'm good at it, becoming better slowly. But doing the things that I am good at, and one thing I'm not good at is remembering things. I can't remember what I ate for dinner last night. There is too much going on in my mind for me to be able to remember the small things that actually do matter to me. For example, an idea I have for this YouTube channel, and having this mindset has really made my life a lot easier. Having the mindset of everything I do has one goal, one simple goal, and that is to make me happier. That's the framework I want to push through my YouTube channel, through all of the apps I use, and not necessarily going for something that is really popular. So a lot of people do use Notion, and Notion is a great tool and a really popular tool. I can't use Notion. I've tried. It is amazing, but I can't use it because there is too much happening. There is too many distractions. There is just too much for me personally, and I end up getting overwhelmed and giving up. So that's the last thing I wanted to touch on, is that don't go for apps or just in general things that are really popular just because they are popular. What works for someone else might not work for you. That's why I post a lot of apps, because people are different. Some people like an app called Obsidian, some people like something like Notion, some people just use their default notes app on the phone. It doesn't matter what apps you use, but I think that using apps and using the tools we have around us to make our lives easier is really important. And in my case, it has been life-changing. Having a notebook, having these productivity apps have made my life a lot easier and have enabled me to tackle the real problems, which is the fact that I have had some trauma earlier in my life that I haven't been able to get through and to heal from, and all of these things that have been bothering me for such a long time. If I can outsource some of the thinking I have to do, I can spend that time thinking about the things that will make my life easier and the things I have to tackle. But you can't do that if you have an overwhelm of things you have to do, or an overwhelm of content and things you want to remember from content you watch or listen to. It is just my personal opinions and my personal experiences, because I've really been through it. I have had really hard times. I have been admitted to a psych ward, and having to stay there felt like a low point, and getting back and working like really hard to implement all of these things to get me to a happier place have taken a lot of struggle and a lot of energy. But I feel like I'm at the point right now where I've learned from many of the mistakes I've made, and hopefully me sharing the mistakes I've made and the thoughts I have can help you at least feel a little more motivated to live a happier and more fulfilled life. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please do leave a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you again quite soon.